What is good, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at GBPUSD sell setup that we had from the 3rd of March and precisely how we were able to get around a 6 hour from this exact setup just using a very simple inducement and break and retest concept. Heading straight to the charts on GBPUSD, looking at things from the daily time frame, we can see that price, if we just go a little bit backwards, we had this break of structure external structure wise, and we were having a structural pullback right into that level, right? And then we took the lows and price continued to the downside. So overall, what we were seeing from the 3rd of March, which was this area where I put this to, right? So what we're saying is that price, or what we can now say is that price had what broken our external structure here, this low, using this structural pattern. So I was actually anticipating a pullback right into, or even till now I'm still anticipating a pullback, let's say into this region, right? Then if at all we get some reactions there, we can now look at taking this guy much more lower. So particularly on the 3rd, I was just looking at this candle because we were there. So I was basically looking at still shorting what GBPUSD. So from the daily time frame, we can see that we are absolutely bearish. Now heading straight to the 4 hours time frame, right? We can just go down there to see what has been happening. So if I make this vanish, all right, a little bit. Now what we can see here is that we had a high created, then a low, then a high, then a low, then a high. This might not be very much obvious to you, but one thing that you should notice here is that we had sorry, here is that there was a gap right during market open on Sunday. So there was a gap to the downside, right, clearing this low, then price pushed back to the upside, and then we had this volume to the downside. So this was very much a structural region for us to look out um, look out for, and anticipate a reaction from there. So basically I just had my POI around this region, right? So I had my POI around here. You just need to train your eyes and try to understand what is happening, else you wouldn't have been able to see this POI, right? Understanding that there was a gap, and then this candle is actually responsible for that pullback. Now we can see that this left a low, like the next candle also opened, and this candle right was opened above this low, right? So there was something here definitely. So this is a good area of reaction for us to look out for. Now this was the 2nd of March, so this trade was into the 3rd of March, right? So that's why I'm tagging it as a 3rd of March setup. Now we had a pullback right into our point of interest and into our retest level, right? And the next thing I'll just ask myself is, how are we pulling back? When I'm talking about how I'm pulling back, I'm looking at this candle and I'm coming to look at price after the close of this candle, right? So usually for the sake of this video, I might have this. So I'm coming in on this candle, right, to ask myself, how was price pulling back right from my lower time frame, since I am now on my POI level. So coming into the charts from here, one of the things that I was able to see right was that we had something here. We had a bearish candle closure, then a bullish candle, and then we had this. So this was actually a break of structure for me. If that is not so obvious, from the 15 minutes you will be able to see that pullback. Okay, so very well, I had right this level there. So this was more of my, so you see this up, down, up, right? So if you go to your line chart, it's something that is very visible there. So we had this low that was actually taken, right? So for me it was my 45 minutes. Okay, so break, then the break of that point. So coming into the charts, what I was just looking out for was simply just taking my trades from, right, anywhere within that region. So particularly for me, I took my setup from, I think, here. Right, I had my first entry from here, my first trade from here, had my stop loss there, right, and I was targeting this low first of all for a 1 to 4. Then I was also looking at price, heading towards this region for a 7 hour. Okay, so what happened was we got here, we reacted a little bit, then price came back and we cleared that high, right? So looking at price now, one of the things that we can now say is there was another break here, so we had a good flow of order or price. Now price pushed back to the upside to get this high. Now this is where the inducement concept comes in, right? Now I'm looking at two things. I'm looking at price from this perspective on how we are taking this high, right? Because we are still in this inducement. So what I was anticipating was, if at all we still see a bearish pressure, right, down, and then we take this guy. So two things is, we can take this guy and then I'm looking to enter, and we can also maybe push down a little bit, and then we have something like this, and I just react from there. So I just wanted to see how price is still going to be reacting, and fortunately we had, right, this level, this internal structure that we cleared, the price cleared. So for me it was a clear inducement. So we have a sweep of liquidity, we have break of internal structure, and then price is supposed to come and take here. That's minimum of that level. So immediately I saw this, right, I went straight up to getting into this trade. So usually how you want to get in is, once you get a break of structure with body, definitely price is going to come and retest. So you might be looking at just getting in from here, putting your stops there, and then this. But this was a 1 to 3 hour, right? And I usually make use of 1 to 4 hours. So what I did was I used the rejection concepts. That's an area of multiple rejections. Now coming into the 4 hours time frame, what was I able to see? Since I already have my break, I could see what price rejecting. That is, we have rejection, 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 right? So definitely I knew that there's a very high probability now that price is going to come and retest this level back, right? So this was how I just refined my entry, not making use of any indicators or making use of Fibonacci. And when we go to the lower time frame also, we can see that what we were having multiple rejections on this. So rejection, 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 right? So this was a strong support and resistance level. So I just made use of this area here, right? Then I had my stop loss there, and then my target was here for a 1 to 6, right? And then I was looking at price maybe heading lower into this region, giving me that 1 to 10 hour, right? And yeah, this is just how simple the whole setup was, right? So we had volume to the downside. We came in very close to this area. Now this is what I call, this level here is what I call the incomplete pullback region from the daily time frame, right? I talked about it on my course video. You can look at it from the playlist, right? From my playlist, my course, full course material. Talked about incomplete pullback and every single thing, even down to this, how I approach the market. And this is one of my entry models right here. Okay, so I first of all had one loss, and then I got in again, and then I was able to get this guy. So basically I closed out all my position, right, somewhere around here, just getting that 1 to 6, well, that 1 to 6 rather, after we came in here, and then we started seeing this pullback. So I did not want to risk any other thing, and then I just jumped out of this trade, and you can see the picture attached to this. So this is a very simple concept, very effective, and this is basically how I trade. So do like, share, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications.